Hey guys, welcome back. It's actually been a while since I recorded the last series of videos until now, so much so that my attire's changed. I'm in my winter gear. It's cold today. And the reason why is because there's going to be a few videos here, and I really wanted to get deep in some of the practices I was recommending. I had done them on like kind of the surface level, and they carried some success for me, and I really wanted to integrate them more and then produce a video for you guys. So that's what's kind of gone on. So anywho, this video though is one that I could probably talk a lot about the different tarot decks for hours, but I'm going to try to we're going to warm up with some shorter videos and then there's going to be some longer ones as we talk about different spreads and different ways to use tarot cards. So this one is all about different decks, okay? So first of all, now that I'm on this side of the fence and I'm teaching tarot, I would totally, absolutely recommend just going ahead and getting like a pretty standard Rider-Waite tarot. This one happens to be called Radiant. All that means is they've like made the colors pop a little bit more, and it's like kind of teeny tiny too. It's like little. Like look, this is little. Like compared to this is like an oracle deck size. Okay, guys, I'm actually going to get a bigger deck of this to use with more of my readings. I did a reading for someone who was 17 the other day, and I was using the deck that I really like to use, which I'll show you in a moment. But there's like anatomical figures of nude people that are just pretty anatomical. And so I feel like the Rider-Waite deck is a little more gentle with regards to that. No blatant nudity, that kind of thing. At least I don't think so. I'd have to look at the world card, but I feel like the world card has like this sash around it covering, this beautiful world dancer card. So this is the Rider-Waite tarot. And we'll talk a little bit about this right now because I think it's important when you're first beginning to realize that most of the books you're going to buy on tarot that are written by a variety of different authors are written with the Rider-Waite style of deck in mind. It's very symbolic. The symbolism has deepened its own meaning by being around for so long. Okay, so there's different decks that have come around. I even have one up here that I've forgotten to pull down, so I'll have to stand up and show you that one. I have most of them down here, and I thought there was one missing, and I am right. There's one missing. So there's different tarot decks have kind of gone off and created some differences. Not all of the symbolism is going to be the same, and in some cases it's vastly different. Okay, so we'll go down through the scale of talking about what I mean by that. So the Rider-Waite, this one is if you're going to, I'm going to show you these books more, but if you're going to get some of these books that are called like the Ultimate Tarot book, the best one to have if you're just beginning, you might as well get this Rider-Waite deck. Look at some of these images. They're very classic images. This is one of the knights right here. The Law of Abundance card. I like that. The Nine of Cups. So yeah, seems to be some cards that are flipped around. Is that the Emperor? Yeah, or no, it's the King of Swords. King of Swords actually reminds me quite a bit of the Emperor. Out of all the kings. Oh, here's a beautiful card. The Strength card. I really like this card. It's like one of my favorite cards. So very clear symbolism, lines up very much with how it was intended for years and years and years. And so that's going to play a big part in you learning and integrating these cards. In fact, I tried to learn on decks that weren't so traditional, and I got a lot of roadblocks, and I felt like I was crazy because I could never I would read these teeny tiny guidebooks. This is ridiculous. This is useless too. I've read this one and I'm like, that's not what that means. So even though it came with a Rider-Waite deck, it's just lackluster. So these are okay, but I'll give you a tip in another video that really will replace this. And it doesn't, as far as carrying stuff around with you, if you're doing readings on the go, or if you have a deck in your car in case a friend says, hey, I want a reading, it's not something that's going to add a whole lot of bulk. So let's go on to the next deck. I'll show you the one that I really Let me tell you about the ones that I started with first, because I don't have these decks anymore. It's the Doreen Virtue Radley Valentine decks, the Fairy Tarot or the Angel Tarot deck. They have a Power Archangel Tarot deck, which is a really cool deck. Maybe I'll have to look at that one again, but I gave it away to a friend. And so those ones are very, very gentle. If you're looking for a traditional imagery symbolism, very, very traditional to Raider-Waite, they've changed it a little bit, but they've changed it with the mindset of being more gentle. If you're looking for one for a teenager, okay, for you to do with your children, even have your cards, the little kids pick a card, like, how are you feeling today? Pick a card. And you can look at the card and you can get some information about that. You might not be telling them all about it. Maybe you'll talk about, oh, this one has unicorns and they're kind of all fighting. They're having a fight. He's got some conflict going on. That's what I would come to the conclusion of. And maybe I'd find out a little bit more about, how he's feeling and dig deeper. So there's ways you can use these decks with kids. And the imagery is really, it's very, very mild. Like, it's super mild. Like, I don't even think it's sword. What is it? They have like suits of air instead of the sword suit, but air is the element that goes with the sword suit. Does that make sense? So it's not, they do change things, and that makes it, that can actually heighten your ability to start remembering, because you're like, okay, what does that relate to? What symbol, what element? It helps you deepen your knowledge of some other areas, which it did for me as well. I started calling in the elements more. And when I started calling in the elements more, and after I felt like I was done with the toned down deck, I really wanted the ones where like, okay, let's show me some mayhem, Show me the Hanged Man being called the Hanged Man instead of, I can't remember what it's called, Enduring Virtues deck, Show me something that looks a little bit intense and maybe kind of looks spooky. I don't know where one is. Here's one that's kind of intense. I know a lot about this now. I know now that it is an intense picture, but the really nice thing about this deck is really beautiful. This one's called Everyday Witch by Deborah Blake, this deck. I got kind of into the rituals and the witchy stuff, so I was like, I'm going to get a witch deck, and I love this one. And it comes with a very, very, very decent sized, well-written book about tarot, okay? That's something for you guys to keep in mind if you're looking at these decks after we talk about them here. I love this one. And it really does hold true to the Rider-Waite symbolism. Maybe a couple of them I'm like, that's a little different imagery, but okay, So, yeah, the Two of Swords is one of them I have in mind, that now I know more about the Two of Swords. Like, I really like the classic imagery, not the one that they use, but it's fine. It helped me when I needed it, and it helped give me a baseline for understanding what the Two of Swords meant when it came up. So this one, but when I look at the card, I see that the sky doesn't look all that threatening. It's kind of pink and peachy rosy. It's saying the fight, it might be over right now and you may be down, but you're going to rise again. So this is like some of the imagery that helps me understand this card. And also you look, this guy's not passed away right there, and it's quite obvious. So even though this deck has, my baby woke up, my husband's here, but even though this deck has a little bit more, it's got the swords, it's got the more true imagery, which sometimes has some harsh stuff to look at. I mean, look at the death card. I really like the way they did the death card in this one. The death card's different than the traditional one, but this is one of the offspurs of death that I really like, because it shows you like this door that's completely closed and this one over here that's open that has this golden light coming out, and death is just waiting to cut the cords that's preventing you from kind of moving through it, moving through that experience. So that one, I really like this one. So let's keep going. Then I happen to be gifted this one right here. And this one I love it because it's the Goddess Tarot, and I really love this supreme feminine sort of feeling about it. But I don't love some of the imagery, and they're on some of the more powerful cards that I have a hard time with. So it's so funny. I'm going to see if I can, I can't find any, and they've also changed some of the words here. So this one's 9, it's contemplation. So this is the Hermit card. And this is, okay, so it's a good one for the Hermit card. And I've read about Chang'o as a goddess. She was sent up to the moon to sort of live out her goddess life, and her husband was immortal at the time when she went up to the moon. You know, he vowed to come visit her just once a month when the moon was full. So there's like fun stories that come behind this, and that's deepened my understanding of the goddess. So this fortune card, it's called Fortune, and you know, it's called the Wheel card, I think, in traditional tarot. So there were some things I liked about it and some things that I didn't like about it. I might still use it. Oh, I love this one. This is the Magician card. They've actually, a lot of times the Magician is portrayed as androgynous. Can't tell if it's male or female. And I think on this one, I mean, it's clearly, this is Isis, and it's because this is a goddess deck. So you have that energy. They're still kings, though. The king of cups, for example. So you still do have some of that divine, sacred masculine energy in here. So it's a really kind of cool cup. It doesn't veer, a cool cup. It's a cool deck. It doesn't veer too much off of the traditional Rider-Waite. So let's see, but it, a little bit, some of it. Let me show you this other deck, see if I can grab it. Okay, I usually get everything prepped. Then I went ahead, while I was kind of using all those decks before I really kind of got my final 2 decks that I'm probably going to have for a while. I put myself on a deck freeze. I got this Akashic Tarot deck. Now, this is produced by Hay House. Hay House has a lot of tarot deck options, like the Good Tarot. Oh, I can't think of them all right now. You know, there's a variety of them. Not only just produced by like Radley Valentine. I'm not sure if Doreen Virtue's name is still on any of the tarot decks. I'm not sure. So this is not like the regular tarot at all. So I got this and I didn't like it at all at first. And this is the Akashic Tarot. And if most of you guys know me that are buying this card reading course know that I have a Facebook page called the Akashic Queen. So I'm kind of known for you know, using the Akashic records as part of my psychic readings. But this is totally different. Like, this is called 8 of Scrolls. There's no scrolls in the traditional tarot. There's keys. And even the roses, which I might have tried to make similar to the cups suit. Like, here's the roses suit. I might have tried to make it similar to the cup suit. It's still not exactly the same, but it's, you know, that there are ways of looking at it where you can dig for the similarities, but overall you're kind of, this is relearning. So you make the choice, I think, when you're first starting out, if you want a tarot deck that is kind of like an oracle deck where you just have to use the book, which is really beautiful and beneficial, and I still use the book quite a bit with this one. Then you can go with one of these other ones, and Hay House has an awesome selection for that. But if you really wanted to be able to buy multiple different books on tarot to really dive deep, like when you tell people you're giving them a tarot card reading, most people they think of the traditional tarot. Okay, so there's a lot of different options though, and now we'll quickly talk about how they've veered off. These are traditional decks, but they just look really kind of cool. So this one's called the Golden Thread Tarot. This is the 6 of Swords. Now in the traditional deck, this shows some people on the boat as well, which holds some meaning. So it's nice that I know that. I know that about the original. Now that when I read this one, because I know the cards, like, I wasn't really ready for these decks that are just beautiful. If you want to use them, you know, you really want to. They're amazing. I wasn't really ready for them until I had more thoroughly integrated the tarot symbolism into my consciousness, into my frequency. Okay, here's the Empress cards. These are really beautiful, really beautiful. This one's very similar to the traditional one. So they have on a lot of them, they've done really well. This one's a little different. Like, I need to know from the original one that he's actually facing outwards. The 3 of Wands is like the visionary card, and in this one he's facing the reader, or you know, if you're doing the reading. But in the traditional tarot deck, he's like looking outwards. So it's a little bit different, and that's one of the reasons why it's good to work with, like, with your Rider-Waite, with your classic, for quite a while, for just integration purposes. I'll show off my last deck, which I haven't even really used very much. I haven't fallen in love with it, and I think it's because it veers even more off of, I get frustrated when it's like too different. I'm just not in love with it yet. Maybe it'll make a good gift. to somebody else who's like really familiar with tarot. We just saw the Six of Swords in this one. I don't think I could pull it up. It was the one with the boat, all the swords stabbing into the boat. So there's a look at how different the Six of Swords can be. Now, I mean, now that I've taken 6 months since I bought these or more, it's been more than 6 months, and I haven't even looked at them. Like, I was like, yeah, sure, I spent $60 on a deck. Don't even look at it. That's me. But now that I can come back to it, and I was like, oh, I know this card. But I think for me, this is better for me to do readings for myself because it really tests me to know the cards. But I'm not able to show the client very many details that help link up their personal situation to the symbolism on the card. Okay, I have to know the symbolism in my head, and so that's why this one, and it's it's called like the Prism Tarot or something like that. Just it's gorgeous. I mean, we have this Knight of Pentacles. All the knights are these sexy guys that are just out doing amazing things. Here's the Wheel of Fortune. So example, I wouldn't necessarily want to use this card if I was doing a reading with a kid, necessarily. Maybe it wouldn't bother some people, but it probably would to me. And now that I have kids, I don't know, you'd probably want to, like, here's another one with it's really pretty, but got to be careful. So you can find yourself really deeply involved in sort of a relationship with the tarot decks that you choose. And that's why, I mean, I've given a lot of them away because I fell sort of out of that relational feeling with them. And I had learned from them, and they needed to go off and be of service outward. Now I have a real personal love and attachment for all my tarot decks, including my Akashic tarot, which is very different. It's not Rider-Waite at all. And so I really love them all. And I think I think we're a nice little family right now. And you'll feel that way too. Maybe it'll be 1, 2 decks, maybe 3, this kind of thing. If you really get into tarot, you'll find yourself wanting to explore other decks because it really helps to deepen your knowledge. So with that, I'm going to let you go. This turned out to be a longer video, but maybe that's the way these are supposed to be. I hope you enjoyed it and have fun searching for your tarot decks. Definitely go out and check some out in a store. I think that's recommended in one of the initial videos on oracle cards that plays really well into the searching for a tarot deck as well. So enjoy.